We're going shopping on Saskatoon Stories. Jeff, we're all familiar with the various kinds of malls, strip malls, there are covered malls, and we could include big box malls if we like, but let's concentrate on enclosed shopping malls in this segment. When did we see the first of these?
Well, the idea of a market with a whole bunch of vendors all piled together in one space is really old, as you know. And I mean, there have been mall-like structures in cities in Europe and in the Middle East for centuries. But the idea of the fully enclosed shopping mall in the modern sense is really a product of the mid-1950s North American car culture.
When did Saskatoon get its first enclosed shopping mall?
Okay, well, you could argue that the old Market Square building on Idlewild, which had different kiosks under a single roof, was sort of a mall. And of course, we had the open-air Churchill Plaza on the corner of Taylor and Clarence, built in 1957. But the first actual enclosed modern shopping mall in Saskatoon was where we are right now, Market Mall on Preston Avenue. And here's a pair of early concept drawings from the City Archives, courtesy of the Number 10 Architectural Group. And here's Market Mall under construction, and people were really excited about the mall. It was designed to resemble an open-air market with huge skylights for lots of natural light and high ceilings that actually sat above the tops of the store partitions so as to increase this sense of airy spaciousness. And you can see what I mean in this photograph here of the Preston Avenue South entrance in 1967. And here's another one, an aerial view of Market Mall in its early days. And in those days, it was basically a big rectangular box. It almost looks like a football field.
Yeah, what shops or stores would we have seen at Market Mall when it first opened in 1966?
Okay, well, some of the early tenants included Flowerland, Ricky's, the Esquire Barber Shop. There was a Pinder's Drugstore. A lot of our viewers will remember Pinder's. Singer was also at Market Mall. And of course, malls have to have what they call anchor stores. And one of the big anchors early on here was Safeway, which opened to huge fanfare in November of 1966 with a ribbon cutting in front of the store. Quite a crowd on hand, including lots of media, as well as the shoppers who couldn't wait to grab a cart and go shopping. And this is what they saw inside. The checkout stands there with that 1960s flair, and if you look closely, cigarettes were readily available to buy with your groceries.
Yes, in full view too. Now, what other anchor stores did Market Mall have in those early years?
Okay, well, McLeod's was a big draw. Here's the mall in 1967 with the big McLeod sign. Many people will remember Gamble's. McLeod's was actually rebranded as Gamble's, which opened in Market Mall in the late 1970s. Kmart was also here at Market Mall for a while before Zellers moved it.
The mall has seen a lot of changes since it first opened in 1966 then.
Yes, there have been 4 expansions altogether. The first one in 1980 was on the southeast corner of the mall. That's when the liquor store was added. And then another expansion 2 years later on the west side allowed the Safeway store to double in size. And then here's another aerial shot of the mall, 1985, and you can see how the expansions have changed the original shape of the mall. And you see that blue building, the blue colored roof on the right of the picture. That building actually belonged to the Nutana Legion before the mall purchased it and made room for more parking.
There was a Canadian Tire store at Market Mall for a while, was there not?
Yes, in fact, it opened at the mall in the 1960s as Stedman's before the Canadian Tire name took over in 1972. And it was the departure of Canadian Tire in 1987 that led to yet another expansion, and that's when the food court was added. Then in 1992, there was an 8,000 square meter expansion, and Market Mall really moved into the modern era with the underground parking added along with the indoor miniature golf course.
Which is right behind us, of course. It was a unique one-stop shopping experience when it opened 50 years ago, and it continues to attract all kinds of shoppers. But we can't talk about Market Mall without mentioning the Coachman. The restaurant and bar has been a major part of the mall for decades. Market Mall, Saskatoon's first enclosed shopping centre on Saskatoon Stories with City of Saskatoon archivist Jeff O'Brien.